RX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster who's here. I'm trying to think of something witty. I'm here to put you to sleep. I'm here to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff with some senseless banter. Not witty banter. Oh, boy. I don't know if it's witless banter. Clueless banter, probably. Clueless banter. It's banter about Clueless and things interesting to people who love Clueless, the movie. Clueless had a brief run as a TV show. Clueless, the music. There's a musical, right? Is there a musical Clueless? I honestly have no idea. Because I say, okay, we've got Mean Girls, right? What's the Elle Woods one? I'm a lawyer. I can't remember that one. Oh, Legally Blonde. Why do I feel like there should be Clueless a musical, and there should be, I was thinking of it and then I forget. Oh, Election the musical. But, I've been wrong before. And, oh, boy, you say, those are all musical, Scoots. And I'd say, that's music to my ears then. But you know what? You might not want music at bedtime. You might want some senseless, slightly clueless bantering, not exactly about Clueless. If you want a good discussion about Clueless, Script Notes. And I think they reran it recently. My daughter and I listened to it. And they run through Clueless, the movie, the motion picture. Clueless, the motion picture. I don't know if it was a movie. It was a motion picture. I guess, what has been a motion picture? Star Trek, the motion picture. That was the one that pops in my head. Holy cow. Talk about slow motion, getting to the point. This is a podcast to put you to sleep because you deserve a good night's sleep. And so coming up here, there's going to be some sport. That's how the show comes out. Free choice week. Then there'll be a long, meandering intro to ease you into bedtime. And then a nice little bedtime story to tuck you in. So it's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And these sponsors are what enable us to do it for free twice a week. Hey, everybody, Scoots, and I don't know how you're listening to Sleep With Me right now, but don't you want to be listening to the show in the most comfortable way possible? How about with a little bit of a Sleep With Me swag on your forehead? So, and maybe anybody else, say, oh boy, sleeping with my boyfriend here. Well, the most comfortable way to listen to Sleep With Me is with sleep phones, and you could get Sleep With Me branded sleep phones at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep-phones. It's amazing, comfortable way to listen to Sleep With Me. They have wireless sleep phones. They have corded sleep phones. They have wireless with wireless charging sleep phones. So you don't need your phone there. And you won't keep your partner awake or your pet awake. They're great for running. They cover your ears. Some people even pull them down over their eyes. And you could get those at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep-phones. Treat yourself in the new year, because I don't know which way you're listening to Sleep With Me now. Don't you want to listen the most comfortable way? That's sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep-phones, and use Sleep With Me, one word, Sleep With Me at checkout for $5 off. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Helix. Get over there and take their Helix quiz at helixsleep.com/sleep. And I love my Helix. I don't like traveling because I don't like to be without my Helix Dusk Luxe because I sleep so good. Helix is a premium mattress brand, provides tailored mattresses based on your unique sleep preferences. Helix has 14 unique mattresses, including luxury models, mattress for big and tall sleepers, mattress for kids. And the way you pick the right mattress is you take that Helix quiz. You'll find your perfect mattress in under 2 minutes. Your personalized mattress is shipped straight to your door free of charge. You get to test out your Helix in your own home. They offer a 100-night risk-free trial, so you could try out your new Helix mattress, see how your body adjusts, and if you decide it's not the best fit, you're welcome to return it for a full refund. And everybody's unique. Everybody sleeps differently. That's why Helix has several different mattress models to choose from, each designed for specific sleep positions and feel preferences. differences. And like I said, when I took that Helix quiz, I got matched with the Helix Dusk. I got the Helix Dusk Luxe because I sleep on my side, I sleep on my stomach. I like to sleep cool. It fits all those needs, checks all the boxes, man, and more so than that because the proof is in the sleep, right? Not only is it the best mattress I've slept on, but setup's fast and easy, delivered straight to your door in a box for free, and you get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. If you don't love it, I know you will. They'll pick it up for you, give you a full refund. All right, so get over there. Helix is offering up to 20% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/sleep. This is their best offer yet. It won't last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now. Thanks, everybody. All right, everybody, it is time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone, the one part of the podcast in each area where I pop my peas, if you please. I thank the listeners who supported the sponsors. Let the sponsors know about it. That's how we're here free twice a week. And if you want to hear your name on the Sleepy Supporter Zone, you support a sponsor, you let them know about it, let me know about it, fill out the form at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors, and I'll send you a thank you video. I'll try to thank you here on the Sleepy Supporter Zone. Like Caitlin, who got an Air Doctor 3000, and thanks to listeners like Caitlin, Air Doctor is back supporting the show. Caitlin's having a baby any day now, 4 cats, 2 dogs, and decided to invest in a high-quality air purifier and support the show at the same time. So thank you, Caitlin, for supporting Air Doctor, letting them know about it, letting me know about it. Couldn't do it without listeners like you, so thank you so much, Caitlin. The second part of the Super Supporter Zone is you getting the support you need right now. There's links to resources you can connect with, including international resources, right in our show notes. And it's about being part of positive change, being a part of community, taking action to say Black Lives Matter, to stop API hate, to support Ukraine, and links to learn more and take action are in our show notes. And one thing we're doing as a community is building hygiene kits for people experiencing homelessness. You could sign up and support at sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnight mission. We're supporting organizations like the Midnight Mission. It's downtown LA. It has the only 24/7 restroom, and they really need hygiene kits and a bunch of other stuff. You can find links by signing up for the newsletter, sleepwithmepodcast.com/midnight mission. What do you say? Oh, Mystery Bard. What do you say? I asked Mystery Bard. A lot of people help out on this show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. You can support your scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Hannah like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. Don't forget to get your sleep phones. The most comfortable way to listen to Sleep With Me, sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleepphones. Use our code SLEEPWITHME to save $5. And what do you say? We slow it down and get on with the show. Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it the bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake. It could be thoughts on your mind, like things, thoughts. Like the word clueless, you could have some thoughts or some feelings about that. It's a tough word, or it's been used in ways, in my way, say, the state of lacking a clue, like that would be, and then you see my picture there. Pointless meanders, right? Superfluous tangents. That's what I use. What the heck was it? Where was I? Whatever's keeping you awake. Oh, thoughts, feelings, anything coming up for you emotionally. anything physically you're experiencing. It could be changes in time, temperature, routine. It could be something else. And the reason I run through that brief list isn't to kind of remind you of anything other than the fact that you're not alone. And you're not alone in some weird digital way. Yeah, I acknowledge that. But like someone that's listening right now can probably relate to what you're going through. Maybe no one listening has experienced it, but I'm guessing someone has. And I might not have been through what you're going through. But I know how it feels in the deep, dark night. I know what it feels like, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep, trouble waking up too early, I just had something within the last day and a half that I had to get up really early for, where I had to kind of do whatever, present something. And I found out about it like somewhat last minute, but not so last minute that I couldn't try to go to bed early. And it was just, one of those nights where I said, this isn't that big a deal, but my mind was running the whole night, in between please, I just want to get some sleep here to be ready for tomorrow because I got to get up early and, be on. So I know how it feels. Maybe that's not exactly what you're dealing with, but maybe someone else out there can relate to that. That's one of the things I want you to know. Even if you never listen to the show again, your feelings in the deep, dark night are still valid, and it doesn't change the fact it's not easy. But this doesn't change. You deserve a good night's sleep. You deserve a place you could get some rest, a bedtime you don't dread, that you could feel neutral about or look forward to. I hope I can provide that for you. I can't provide it for everybody. So that's why I have sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you for people that are like, no thank you. So, most people don't say it that way when they message me or they post a review, but that's okay. But if you are in a place where you're like, well, no thank you, I'll check that out though, because you deserve a good night's sleep. You deserve the rest you need so your life is more manageable. And if you get that rest, whether it's through Sleep With Me or something else, the great news is our world's a better place to be in for everybody. And our world will be even better if you're out there flourishing, living a full life. Means it's a great world to be in. So those are the two reasons I'm here to help, and a lot of other people are kind of like pulling for you in the deep, dark night, because we know how it feels, and we know you deserve some rest and a bedtime routine. In a bedtime, you could say, well, at least I got that boring, rambling guy who's kind of clueless, kind of not. He clued me into his cluelessness. Here's the thing. Now I'd like to just reserve all rights, but somebody else probably thought of this. But is any person solving mysteries, or they're they're you got Holmes and Watson, right? Or I don't know if Thea Stilton and Geronimo Stilton ever did anything together. And again, people say, by the way, they just drove around in cheese cars or what. I said, wouldn't they eat the car if it was made of cheese? But has anybody ever said, you've been clued? Like the state of being, I guess, what would happen if you were a character in the game Clue, you'd say you've been clued. But I don't know, that just popped in my head. It'd be a cool thing to say. You've been clued. Clued in, I've discovered a clue, or I've been, I don't know. I just think it's a good tagline. I don't know the best use of it. I'm just saying one day I hope I develop a character. I mean, I probably could. I mean, I have a couple characters that do investigate mysteries. They're not currently running a series on the show, but someone in that could say, you've been clued. And the other person could say, it's already been clued in. It's already been brought in. And say, I don't know what this has to do with it. Well, it's part of a podcast to put you to sleep and keep you company. What I do is I send my voice across the deep, dark night. I think I forgot this part. I use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, all to keep you company so you can fall asleep. The show does take some getting used to if you're new, because I have creaky dulcet tones. I have pointless meanders and superfluous tangents, which you've already seen quite a few of. Pointless meanders, I have quite a few. But so all that, it takes some getting used to. Because it just does. Like most people come to the show either skeptical because you tried a ton of stuff to put you to sleep, or you've tried a bunch of like, you're like, what is this person talking about? Like, I just really want to fall asleep. I thought this was more of a guru style show where you'd be counting down and there'd be calm music and bells and stuff. And you say, no, there's none of that here. It's just me rambling. I mean, they're like, I'm here to keep you company. So it just takes a little bit of getting used to, and that's not me. I only benefit if you get good rest. So giving it a few tries is just what most regular listeners say that support the show. When they message me, they say, hey, I loathed you. That's one of my favorite email is to, when someone tells me their story and they say, this is what happened and now I'm sleeping better, either with or without the podcast. There's some people that graduate from the show. There's some people that listen to the show, they're students, then they listen in grad school, then their first job, then their first child. They listen to me like through those ups and downs on and off. But it does take some getting used to. I'm an acquired taste. So yeah, I'm not like a mainstream successful musical where you say, of course there's a Clueless musical. What are you, Clueless? I'd say, is there? Like, I mean, it just probably comes down to the rights and the right, production, having the right people on the thing. I'd say, I was just trying to think of like, I don't know. Now my musical production brain's going. So take some getting used to. This is a podcast. A couple things that take some getting used to is one, this is a podcast you don't really listen to, but you can listen to it. So I'm here to the very end to keep you company and take your mind off stuff, whether you're awake or asleep or whether you're listening or not. There's no pressure to listen. But if you can't sleep for some reason or you need a break during the day, I'm here to keep you company and talk to you. I'm not a legal eagle like Elle Woods, but I'll be lost in the woods. Or talking about legal pads or steno pads. You said Elle Woods was not in any of those. And I'd say, well, she was in the movie like totally like Law Boss or whatever it was called. Again, it's called Legally Blonde. Okay, thank you, brain. This is a podcast you don't really listen to. It doesn't put you to sleep, so there's no pressure for you to fall asleep. There's people that are listening that can't sleep, and they listen to the very end. And I'm just here to make the deep, dark night less lonely. Now, that doesn't mean you have to listen, but it just means I'm going to be here for over an hour to keep you company so you could fall asleep. I'm here to be your bore friend, your bore bae, your bore sib, your bore bud, your bore bestie, your bore burr, your neighbor, your bore friend, your bore bruh, to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff. A friend you don't need to listen to. That's not a musical, because you'd say, maybe at Fringe Fest it could be a musical, but I'd say, okay, Challenge 2029, look out, a friend. That wouldn't be the title, but that could be the working title. That for the imaginary fringe fest within me. Okay, so, podcast you don't really need to listen to, doesn't put you to sleep. Tell me some more good news. Structurally, this can throw people off. So I'll tell you about the structure of the show. It is very intentional, the structure of the podcast, to be able to benefit the most people it can, but also so that as you become a regular listener, you can kind of adjust. So the show starts off with a greeting, friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That way you can feel seen and welcome. You say, I could check this podcast out. You get an idea of the tone. Then there's support for the show. That's how the show is free. So you could pay for the show if you don't want to listen to the support, but you could also just have the support, keep the show free for you. Then there's an intro, which is separate from the support. I don't want you to miss out on this part. Because initially, like some people object to the support or sponsors and stuff, and then they say, like the intro is just part of the sponsors. There's an intro for the podcast that's like 10 to 20 minutes long. Just checking. I think right now we're around 11 minutes. But where I go on and on and on to ease you into bedtime, but it's a show within a show. It's not really meant to put you to sleep. It's more to ease you into bedtime, explain what the podcast is. I go off on some tangents. I get mixed up, but it's really like, so for some listeners that are getting ready for bed, for some listeners that are in bed getting comfortable, there's listeners that are asleep. There's some listeners that started the show at 20 minutes, but there's a lot of people that are doing some sort of bedtime activity or getting comfortable or getting ready for bed to ease you into bedtime, to have a transition from being awake to going to sleep. And that transition time, it really is something that's been shown to work. Not 100% of the time. Like I said, doesn't work for me 100% of the time. But it makes me look forward to bedtime. Especially for me, part of it is like having a good book. And right now I'm having a book I'm not enjoying, but I'm trying to see it through. And I just finished a book I really did enjoy, and I can see the contrast, you know. So the intro is meant to be a part of that and ease you into bedtime. And you could skip it. You know, some people listen to story-only episodes, but at least at first, see how it goes. Then after the intro, again, is support for the show. That's how it's free. But you could also pay on Apple Podcasts or Patreon, and then you could skip over that part. Then there'll be our bedtime story. I'm pretty sure this is our Valentine's Day bedtime story, or Valentine's season show. But it'll be fun and meandering and should be kind of nice. And then there'll be some thank yous at the end. So that's the structure of the show. It's why I make the show. I'm really glad you're here. I really appreciate you coming by and checking the podcast out. I really hope I can help you fall asleep. I yearn and I strive to do that. So thanks again for coming by. And here's a couple of ways we're able to do it for you for free twice a week. Sleep With Me is brought to you by Progressive. Most of you aren't just listening right now. You're driving, cleaning, and even exercising. But what if you could be saving money by switching to Progressive? Drivers who save by switching save nearly $700 on average. And auto customers qualify for an average of 7 discounts. Multitask right now. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $698 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2021 and May 2022. Potential savings will vary. Discounts not available in all states and situations. Everybody, hey, Scoots here, and this is a special episode for V-Day. I think I'm recording this early, but I actually, so this is, I think it's going to be a Valentine's Day episode. This episode came about kind of I don't know, did I talk about this in the intro? I don't remember. But I was working with this photographer, Jeremy Cohen, Germ Cohen, and I'll link to Jeremy's Instagram. And let me see. Oh, yeah, and they have a bio site in there on Jeremy's Instagram. But we're having a fun time. And, I was trying to, give anytime I, in a professional sense, work with somebody that has checked out the podcast, but they haven't listened to it because they couldn't sleep. It can be an opportunity, because Jeremy was really chill, to kind of introduce them to the podcast and be myself. And so I was like, okay, let's see how it goes. And then we're kind of talking about photography and cameras and different types of cameras and the camera that Jeremy was using and that they used to use. And it wasn't even a matter of a judgment or quality or anything in different camera groups, and then mirrorless versus DSLR. And I kind of was like, well, this could be like a rom-com almost. This one person uses this camera and one person uses that other camera. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to Germ. I think I'm saying Germ correctly because Jeremy, to short to Germ, is Germ, which I didn't even think of till now was the name of season 1 Lady Witchbeard's sidekick. But this is with a J, by the way. So Jerm, short for Jeremy. So we're going to go with this. And so this part you would hear as a listener. the rest of this, will be my pitch for the VC, once again, or whatever, private investment or equity, something or other. So so from here, I'll go into my same voice presenting mode. So this is another, this is my, what is it if you forget to do it 1 year? Semi-annual pitch to Venmo, or I guess they're owned by another company now. Now, here's the thing. If you're listening and you own another, whatever you call it, monetary exchange platform that is not it's not involved with anything I don't understand. I mean, I'm sure the technology that makes it work, I don't understand. But, I'm saying the whatever, wherever you are in the world, equivalent of dollar bills, not money forms that I'm I can't grasp that. No, not trying to say anything. I'm just trying to say, if you own a platform like a Venmo, but I can rename things for your platform. I don't know. I mean, no offense to any other platforms, but they're not as successful. And I know Venmo doesn't own, so this is not a sponsored thing, by the way. But also, please, this is fan fiction. This is satire and parody, by the way, just in case you're listening, but done in a positive way because of my love of ease of use. So every few years or whenever I remember that Valentine's Day exists and is coming up, I think, though a couple times we did it around Halloween. So I don't know how often it's been, but I try to pitch you and on this unique opportunity. And once again, we are at the place where it's a unique opportunity to take your platform. Now, to be honest, I haven't used it like this in a while. So my usage, just so you know, because you say, let me just stop you there, Scoots. This is not going to work. Okay. Well, let me tell you, I mean, while I've been using your platform more, it's mostly been private. And so I haven't been scrolling through and seeing is that tiny 4-bit by 4-bit picture of someone that is paying someone else for shrimp and tacos, or what is that, ice and whatever, or like a dog and walking. Do I feel does my heart flutter? I haven't been doing that at all lately. So I don't know. I'm just putting that out there. But you know who would be doing it a lot lately? Also, I haven't used any of these other apps a long time. But so, I mean, once again, you say, well, we're new representatives of our platform. So tell us again, because we didn't listen to any of the other episodes where you offered this idea, not for free, by the way, but I'm freely offering the idea for you to eventually pay me a boatload of money, is to take your platform and offer now it'd be like a again, maybe I didn't use this term in the past, speakeasies are still popular. I was just listening to a podcast where they went to a secret tiki bar. Now they called it a secret tiki bar. Not that I listened to, it was not a tiki bar podcast, but, and actually one of the people that went to the tiki bar didn't drink like me. I mean, I don't know. They didn't drink. I don't know if they didn't drink like me, because there's a lot of normal people that don't drink, but, so, and they said it was hidden behind a storefront and, but you could offer, so you have your platform, right? You already have all the people using it. And this is an opt-in secret feature, exclusive, you could say, even a speakeasy level called Datemoi. And, it's already there. The title, again, if you own another platform, I would have to be prepaid, because this time I did it for free. And you can see, you say Venmo, Datemoi. And and it says what it is. It says, well, I'm looking for a date for moi, or to date. Would you like to date moi? I think that's what MOI in French stands for, but I don't know. And when you think of for the France, it typically is associated with romance. I don't think it's just me. But so this is a new, so this is the setup again for what I'm about to explain, because I've learned over the years, you're not taking, I haven't called you, but, so you're going to take your monetary platform, you're going to take everything it's built on, you're going to create a separate layer that's opt-in, invite-only. Also, I don't think I qualify for that one invite-only platform. I mean, maybe I do, though, because I can't use other dating apps because of work. So it'd be nice if somebody hit me up with that one, but that doesn't offer any privacy either, right, or whatever. But if you're listening and you could get me in on that, not that I, but yeah, I can't. So it's okay. So, where was I? Because, but I could be so Datemoi. So you take in your app, it already works. You have a level for dating. And again, it doesn't have to be all fully integrated. It could just seem like it's integrated. And again, you could have the surface level where you say, holy cow. Now, this isn't what I might be interested in someone, again, that says, I like waves and, I'm paying this person for margarita and waves and a jet ski emoji. I'd say, are you sure that isn't Owen Wilson's character in that TV show in Loki? They would just have waves and jet skis, maybe. And they'd be looking at it and be like, why did I pay someone? There's one margarita, 3 jet skis, and 3 waves. A margarita before and after, probably not a good idea, to be honest, Owen Wilson's character, whose name I can't think of in Loki, but what is it? Was it just a general name? When is that season 2 coming out? Maybe no offense, Datemoi, but probably not the best partnership. But you could have fictional characters on there. Here's another idea I just thought of. What about dating? Imagine it. Well, let's not go there. Probably not the best for this pitch because I already had a pitch going. So basically, I think that's the simple thing. You just take your app, and again, it could be, I don't know anything about infrastructure or coding or whatever, Ruby train, Rails or whatever. I just know, a lot of people, I'm sure I'm not the only one, look at that and you say, oh boy, jet skis and waves with, maybe it's an NA margarita too. I'd say, holy cow, my heart is pitter-pattering right now. If I could just tap on that and maybe learn a little bit more to know, is it only because it's a 4x4 pixel? And it's usually of someone's, forearm. But, there's science behind that says, whatever. My heart follows where it goes. I follow where my heart goes sometimes, and I would follow it one more click. And maybe it's a press and a hold, and you say, would you like to date? And they say, this person's not on Datemoi. And all you could do, this is another thing, you could add a mystery invite. So again, people have to opt in for all this. So, don't go doing it any other way. But that person could get a mystery invite and they say, hey, you've been invited. And again, it would never be linked back to you, only to take the pressure off everybody. But then they'd be like, holy cow, I didn't even know about this. And again, you could maybe build out a profile anyway. And maybe your algorithm, I'm sure come on, I'm sure you'll say no, but you'll laugh. I'm sure your algorithms know people's relationship status anyway. So only initially, you could try to do that and you say, oh, this person's not eligible for an invite to Datemoi. But otherwise you could invite people. That'd be, that'd boost you say, oh boy, just like that other exclusive app that I would love an invite to. But you say, oh boy, go for it. I don't know. So just another thing I was thinking, but if you do click on it and they say this person is on Datemoi and here's their profile, So it's just that simple. And again, you can monetize it, I'm sure. Or like you say, okay, yeah, no, can't get into that. Say, would you like to buy this person some virtual waves and jet skis? That's probably not the best. Again, I haven't figured it all out. So that's the basic idea. But again, and I know like one of the things is like usage. So we would have to find ways that I've discussed on past episodes to bring up the awareness. But I do think I'm onto something with that secret invite. And again, as soon as you say something's exclusive, as long as you say it enough times and get some people on there, then, there's a chance somebody that I would want to use it at least. So, okay, so those are the basics. We said, well, we got to get attention for our platform. So in the past, I've come up with some other ideas that I don't really remember now. One was like activities at bars, like doing crafts. And there's probably, you could have sponsored Romcomcon. I think that was my last offer, right? Was that the romance convention about romcons and a romcon happening at a romance convention. And those are ideas I'm still holding on to. Also, like there is Romcom or Romcon. I haven't looked on their website in a while because the last time I looked was like during that time when there wasn't really conventions. And I know there's writers on here, writers of romance and romantic related and adjacent fiction. So let me know. One day I'd like to, have the courage to go back to conventions, which has nothing to do with anything other than, internal, being social. But that would be good, because then I could, romanflits, that's another thing I tried that I never followed through on. But this one, maybe it goes into the Romcomcon. I mean, don't you think it could be a sub-convention in Romcon, the Romcomcon. You see, what's that? Well, there's a convention called Romcon, and within it is a sub-convention, Romcon, which is a romantic comedy convention. So it's Romcomcon. And you say, you lost me at, and I say, aren't you supposed to say you had me at whatever you tried to say? No, you didn't have me. You lost me at that. Oh, well, that's not a good start I guess that is a good start for a rom-com. And that brings me to this story, which is a famous story yet untold or heard about, and I wish I'd seen any of these films, but it's about two photographers, both hired to take photos at a a convention. And one was shooting with a camera, and they were a member of a group called the A7s. And they told their friends at the A7, and we'll just call them A7. Ace, we'll call them Ace because A7 and Ace kind of sound similar. And Ace had been a member of A7s for a while. They had been a member of another camera group. But, the A7s, they were known, to share things among one another, help each other find freelance jobs, give feedback, a professional and social group of photographers, and they called themselves the A7s. And they had a secret, by the way, this is imaginary, but you say, to identify yourself, you say, hey, and they say, hey, A7, that's the code. Or you knock, and they say, hey, and you say, hey, A7. So if there was ever A7 speakeasy, that's how you could get in there. But that's what Ace was a member of the A7s. And they were there shooting, taking photos for a company that specialized in space. Hopefully this isn't a real company, but the imaginary name is, well, it's just combined two things: Saturn Neptune Publications, or Neptune Saturn Publications. Septune Publications, yeah. And they were known for having space-based romantic fiction, particularly, and within a pretty broad spectrum, like hard sci-fi, romance, and then stuff that's more speculative and fantastical, even. So not always just a strict science-based. You'd think if you did that, you could even make some text, but some of them people would even confuse for textbooks. And there's even a punchline that they would use as, so that's the hardest sci-fi I've ever read. But that's for a whole nother podcast. I'm sorry. It had to be said. Asteroids, Ace was there shooting Ace, as a member of the A7s, but they said, this new romantic convention, just like a lot of other ones, was coming into this new era, and they really wanted to promote it. So they had a great idea, which was they told Ace, they said they knew about the A7s, which was an invite only thing, by the way. And they said, hey, why don't you, you can have your own booth, and you could do whatever you want. You got to run it by us, but, to add some fun, invite some of your friends. We could give free convention passes and a free booth, and maybe you could recoup your costs, do something, for the hotel and travel. I mean, Ace was being paid because they were there already working for whatever, Septune. So the A7s had a booth, and they were trying to think of cool ideas. And again, all this would be possible. Even these sub booth, just think about it. If you had a dating platform, that was also whatever. You could say, hey, we could even have something there, like the Datemoi, A7s and Datemoi. Wouldn't be people have a lot of experience with photo booths. So I'm sure the A7s are thinking of something cool. And I don't know if they have, at least in this fiction, I'm not sure yet, this rom-com pitch that's barely a pitch, they would have, I don't know if they'd have, should this be a musical? Or just, are there any popular films promoting monetary exchange app that's not becoming a dating app, that's offering a secret dating app level, films based on that, that are based on imaginary conventions within an imaginary, real convention that I thought was imaginary, that I've reimagined with an imaginary convention within it, that are not musicals but have dancing. So I don't know. So we'll come back to the A7s and Ace. So that was Ace. There for work and for fun. There with a professional and a social organization. The other things, let's see. So the other things there, so the other group is, this group, and this is perfect for our situation, they called themselves the Cans. So this was another photography group that used a particular camera. And again, they're a social and professional organization. They'd been around a little bit longer and had a little bit different style and image. The A7s were a little bit more now just had different. The Cans were a little bit more not traditionalist in the sense we're used to. But, just a slightly different style. Again, invite only, a little bit longer around. Though people would, though people had like used the different cameras before and joined A7s or joined the cans, like it was rare for someone to have been a member of both of these groups. But again, another group, cans, they used one particular camera model and worked together. And a beautiful thing to support one another and to enjoy one another's company and to help develop skills and professional and mentorship and all that cool stuff and have fun. So that was the cans. Now, we'll just say Canny was the member of the cans there at Romcon, Romcomcon. It would be Romcomcon, but Canny was there to also take photography or to take pictures. And was there taking pictures for like a historical, there's historical fiction, so there's all kinds of historical fiction, and there's historical romantic fiction. And not that different than space-based or sci-fi, again, like different levels of that. And this company that Canny was working for was called Historically Love. Like, it's like one long thing. There's no Y in there, though. So that's who Canny was working for. Sorry, you may not have heard it, but I was slightly interrupted by remembering to that maybe the cans or the A7s may have contacted me and said that none of them exist. By the way, there is no there is no organizations like this. This is totally imaginary or friend, groups. They're not, or they just like, if there were, they're not exclusive in the way they're positive. If they were in my imagination, other than in this story, they're there for totally positive support. And speaking of positivity, the cans, they also got a booth, right? And they were a little bit more prepared, I guess. I don't know if someone had been to a convention, but they partnered with like a couple of imprints and publishers that specialized in themes around magic, like performance magic that's performed. So they had a booth where the authors could come and talk about their works. The representatives from the publishers could come. Fans could come. And they had some like different ways set up of like the power of magic, magical photography. So where they're explaining, I didn't pay attention to this part, but at different things they had like different setups where they could show old film techniques you could use to create something seemingly magical, and digital techniques you could use, but all practical ones. Even the digital ones were mostly practical techniques, and ones, now particularly the digital ones, what was cool is that people could then do them at home, like making yourself stand next to yourself in two different outfits or whatever, but without like using an app, but not using an app to do that for you. But also because a lot of the imprints and publishers, there was also a lot of close-up magic and magicians there to perform that had either been hired or were just fans. So there was also a lot of photography. So there was a lot of positive hubbub, because also people like tend to, when you have a top hat and a tuxedo, not that every magician does, that's popular. And then also sometimes people we're even doing like Houdini-esque tricks. And that's another area that also has a lot of fanfic. So it's just cool. I don't know, like a vibrant scene within a scene, man. And this is where the first connection was made, because Ace had taken a break from the booth and wasn't doing any work. And there's a pretty big floor, like not the biggest convention you've been to, but not the smallest one. And like you got to pay, when you're at one of these conventions, if you're like me, you got like you're better off getting outside of your comfort zone, right? And Ace was like similar, just kind of strolling and not paying attention. But then, there's the ends of the rows, and then there's the ends of the convention floor. I think those are like the corners are the most popular spots. But even at the end, that's where the bigger booths are. And Ace said just having to stop and see like 2 rows down, like a magician performing, but also like some old school cool equipment, but like behind them. And like there was just hubbub, so Ace wasn't fully paying attention. And there was a magician, and they asked for help from the audience. It wasn't a plant, and they're having to get canny as they're like they said, I need some help with this next trick or this next thing. I don't think they say trick. Maybe they do. They probably shouldn't, because they said, so you're going to trick me? And that's what Canny said to the magician. They said, no, but it was it was actually, the magician was so good. This was part of their bit in case they could improvise. And there was just something about it where at first it was like Ace's feet were moving, even though Ace didn't realize it, because at first it was just the body language. Ace wasn't close enough to pick up on the banter. The improvised banter, because then it was going back and forth. It's like, no, I'm not going to trick you. I'm not trick the. No, I'm not going to trick the audience or you. I'm going to present it like that's my favorite thing when the magician, really helps build tension. The magician's kind of I don't know, kind of playing along and letting Canny, play it out, and it's also. When the heart goes pitter patter, these are the kind of tensions that are similar. That's what, I don't know. And that's what drew Ace closer and closer. And pretty soon it was like something with hula hoops and, like a shower curtain and water, and even illusion where it looked like Candy got all wet, but then and then there was water everywhere, but then there wasn't, and everybody's like, I thought there was water everywhere. And it revealed just one of those fake shit, somebody that's there's a popular Halloween costume once upon a time that I think you could design where it's you're in the shower and part of it is you use, tinsel icicles, silver tinsel fake icicles that looks like fake water. Doesn't actually look like fake water at all. I mean, it just simulates, but so that's the final reveal. So there was anyway, and Ace clapped and actually made eye contact with Canny, and then went into wandered into the booth, not knowing. So under multiple levels of illusion, including the illusions of the heart, also maybe the title of a book. And the second one was Illusions of the Heart. And then the behind the scenes book, Alluding to the Hearts. And then also the attempted musical book, A Lute from the Heart. All of those, Gingerbread Press, I'm trying to think of any Knocks After Dark books, but A Lute of the Heart was my favorite one that I didn't write. And, so anyway, so Ace wandered in, had made eye contact with Candy, but Ace still didn't know. Ace was being guided by biomechanical forces, we'll just say, within. And he started looking at the old equipment. There's even this beautiful old tripod, wooden, that kind of shiny, well-worn wood, not just polished, but, sanded down by time and hand oil, well use, like probably kept up, and Ace was actually touching the tripod, totally like looking at the grain. An old style camera was on top of it with one of those thingamajigs. And like Ace was caught up in it, and Canny was actually supposed to be working the booth. That's why. Anyway, it kind of came up behind Ace and was watching him. It was watching them totally be caught up in the illusion, or like what? Not the illusion, but they're caught up in something with this wood. And Canny said. Please keep your hands off the tripod. And Ace went, whoa. Oh, sorry. Just a beautiful, beautiful tripod here. And Candy said, yeah, it's part of our booth. Welcome. And Ace said, thanks. He said, it's very romantic in here. Very romantic tripod. And it was one of those ones that, it fell flat, but in a way Candy could appreciate. And Candy even said he never associated tripods with romance, you sicko. And Ace said, and Candy said, why don't you, we're showing how we do some, photographic illusions. Would you like to see how one of them is performed? And he said, "Oh, wow, yeah." Like again, not yet. The tension had not been established, other than this already existing hubba tension. And Candy said, "Okay, why don't you start? You'll take my picture. I'm going to stand over here." And take my picture with this camera on the very hot tripod that you're all over. And Ace went towards the camera and then realized that it was a can camera, even though it was old, like a vintage camera. And Ace was like, again, really like into the A7s. And Ace said, "Oh no, I don't shoot with can. I don't shoot with cans." And there could have been other jokes, but it was like, again, in this particular version, that had a different meaning. Not like can dancers. And, but Canny knew exactly. Kind of didn't know exactly what it meant, but knew exactly what it meant to Canny. And said, "Oh, you a photographer?" And they said, "Yeah, I'm a photographer. I'm here working." And Candy said, "So am I." And they had a brief thing where they were talking about the clients they were working for. And, they got kind of caught up in that conversation and some shared, things of like, trying to establish, billing and all that, just it was basic stuff. And then, he said, "Wait a second, is this," and then Ace kind of recognized a couple people and said, "Wait a second, is this is this a can booth? I got to get out of here." And in some sense, I think that really what was happening with Ace was that the feelings, like the things were going so well with Canny, that added something where Ace didn't even think anymore and just bolted out of there. Went back to the A7s to see if Ace was seen at the can booth, and Ace was, because they said, "Oh, there he is." And they said, "Sorry, you're now," like they were giving Ace a hard time. They said, "Oh boy, no, leaking our secrets over there, huh? What are you, a Magic fan?" And he said, I am a Magic fan. And they said, "Well, make yourself disappear, man. You can't, I thought you were one of us." And they said, "Well, I didn't know, and they said, "We know what you were paying attention to. It wasn't the magician, or the illusion." And they said, "Yeah, I know." At first I was like, wow, they're doing magic there. And then I found myself in the booth. It was not, and they said, we're just kidding you, Ace. But we are going to have a dance-off with the Can-Cans in a little while, without singing, but with music performed by somebody else. And they said, well, I don't really like to dance. And they said, well, you don't have, you don't have a choice. And he said, well, what dance are we doing? And they said, well, we've got to get dressed too. So we're closing the booth. And they put a curtain across the front of the booth, so they'd have privacy. And they were dressing up as, from the movie, but also the streaming show, but also the pinball game, and originally a TV show, right? They were dressing as, they were all putting on cloaks and bald caps, and they're dressing as Uncle Fester from the Addams Family, and they were going to do this dance. So then they got dressed and they started rehearsing, and it was kind of like a combination dance from the movies and the show, but mostly using the different versions of Uncle Fester that we've seen. All some great performances in there, right? I mean, particularly in the last 20 years, some phenomenal performances. And also there was a musical, which I haven't seen, but people have seen it. And I guess they probably, I mean, Andrew Lippa does make a lot of danceable songs. So I think they probably picked out an Andrew Lippa song from the musical to dance to. Because when I listen to Big Fish or Addams Family, I find myself dancing, even if it's just in my seat. So they were getting ready for their dance off. Now, meanwhile, already at the dance floor. Now, this isn't the only thing. This is one of these things, like a participatory event at the Romcon, the imaginary version, and at Romcom. Romcom at Romcomcon at Romcon. There's a there's just dance offs. It's another thing. So you sometimes you say, well, we publish pirate fiction and you publish pirate fiction. Let's have a dance off. Or you publish pirate fiction and we publish whatever fish fiction. We'll have a dance off. It's all for fun. And it's mostly just, it doesn't even have to be that rehearsed. You don't have to show up, but a lot of people like to dress up. And this is towards the end of the day when the people, people that do imbibe, start imbibing. People like that, just chill, naturally do that. But the day was winding down, and this is just socialized. It's one of the few conventions that mostly stays on the convention floor. Again, a brilliant thing they learned was that if we already have this rented out, and why move it to have the after party here, and let's just keep it here. Then afterwards, and I've just found that successful. If you go off site, a lot of times it kills the momentum or splits everybody up. But so what was interesting was the Can-Cans, instead of they were dressed up as a different scientific instruments you would find in a laboratory. Some with cardboard, some with inflated, so a beaker, Bunsen burner, other stuff like a magnifying glass, or what is that called? A microscope too, thermometer. So all different stuff like that. And I'm not exactly sure because I didn't catch exactly what the song. I don't think it was an Andrew Lippa song. I think it was they did a throwback to an old 80s or 70s the video they found on YouTube. That was a educational film strip with a song that was originally existed in my imagination, but then became a film they would pass out when they had to show film in schools. And it was about practicing, like they just thought it was ironic in a good way because it was called Don't Fall in Love in Biology Lab. And even though it never really existed in the real world, like it was a song about being responsible in your biology lab. And I mean, this should be made, by the way, just so you know, holy birds and bees. Because it's like kids, by the way, Datemoi, I forgot that we were even doing this for you, but like this is what the film's going to be like. Films within films. Think about it. We could just put this up on YouTube. People could discover it by accident, and then, you know, then they see it's a part of the movie. I don't know, like, but so it was called Don't Fall in Love in the Biology Lab. But really, because the kids in biology in high school are going through changes, or some of them have already gone through them, some of them, but you're adjusting and you're learning about the world, about biology, but you're also in biology lab where you have to beakers and stuff like that. You got to be careful. And so it's both levels of that. And it was also kind of like a short film with music, a musical film, Don't Fall in Love in the Biology Lab. Blah, blah, blab. In the lab. And it's just this, tale of like two people have fallen, like, across the room, but like mishap after mishap after mishap. And I think it's like, maybe it's like different pairs, and that's like, so that like it was very comedic, and no one knew, even though it only exists in my mind, like, was this on purpose that it was so strangely comedic or not? So that was a classic. So that's why they were dressed up as biology lab instruments or whatever you want to call them, accessory to a biology lab. And at the end, there's a dancing frog. The full like a person dressed as a dancing frog, like that got out of the lab when the two people that were the most, like the two students that were paying attention to the whole musical they were in, they learned, they both, their hands touched over a frog, and then much like Elliot and E.T., they let the frog go. And Canny was the frog, so Canny had the big number. I don't know if that was WB or UPN that had the dancing frog. But oh boy, was that, brought the house down. And they had a projector screen playing the original. So it was actually kind of like a jukebox performance. I mean, I guess everything is, right? Well, it's different because then the A7s had to follow that. And they were like, we got to follow this? And all they had was like light bulbs that light up in their mouths, and somebody had like, headsets, and one person had, was going to put them in their armpits and their feet and, other things, but their feet, between their toes in the middle of their dancing. So they kind of felt down about it and a little bit irritated, like, because they said, wow, we just got upstaged by something that only exists in the imagination of a sleep podcaster. Couldn't he have done something better for us? And now they didn't have to worry, because every once in a while during the dance-offs, even in the middle of a song, you have to be prepared and on your feet. And so there's times like where the dance-offs randomly, interrupted by the AV crew, and you have to be able to improvise for it. And what happened was they started their song, and believe it or not, I think it was like someone like that, I think it was actually Andrew Lippa singing who showed up there, because Andrew Lippa had heard about it. So he started singing, like they didn't know it, because it was like they had different effects on the mic, right? And even like a couple like bloopers. So they started doing their Uncle Fester dance as a group, but they weren't really feeling it. And then somehow it was like a slow fade in, and it was this mix of, It Must Have Been Love and Get On Your Feet, two songs that you wouldn't think go together, especially with the song from Addams Family. But it did. But like when it went into Get On Your Feet, then at least the A7s knew to kind of say, hey, get on your feet, and started. And again, sometimes our bodies and our spirits are wiser than our brains. And Ace just happened to ask Canny to dance. So you had a Fester and a Frog dancing together to those two things. And it was like the rest of the world obviously faded into the background. And he said, sorry, I ran out of the thing. And Candy said, I bet you caught like a lot of trouble when you went back to your booth. You're in the I didn't even realize you were in the A7s. And it's like, I can't believe we had a dance off, but it was a friendly dance off, and now we're dancing together. And Candy said, yeah, it's like we're missing most of the main areas of development of a Romcon. We're just like had the beginning and the end. That's when it would switch, and then they'd have to slow dance together. But it was better than that because I said, whoa. Not only is this the end, we'll also have the postscript here, because the postscript is that, this was one of these great romances that happens. And eventually, they fell in love. They started seeing one another. They realized they both lived in different boroughs at first. Then they lived in the same borough. They both moved to the Boogie Down Bronx, and we've found they like to that their photography styles and their cameras and their lenses weren't interchangeable, but in a good way. They could complement each other, and eventually they had a big wedding, with the Aces and the Can-Cans. And now, where do you think they got married? You'd say Romcom, and I say, you're right, that one didn't even need a red herring there. Though that was what was funny, was that the person performing it, they were part of another dance-off, and they were dressed as a red herring, officiating their wedding, even though it wasn't a red herring at the time. Because the story would have been more convoluted, would have followed a different structure if it had that. So never what you expect here, and you may be like, if you're a corporate executive, you say, I'd say, it must have been get on your feet. You see, can you imagine if the only place you could see that, how about free tickets? Here's an idea. You sponsor Romcon, also Romcomcon in Romcon, or at Romcon, Romcon, and you say sponsored by Datemoi, and the official, and you also have your main company, official payment partner of Romcom, and these are ideas you could actually use. Would actually, you say this is a slow thing. Because, the real influencers, there's you say, I can guarantee that members of the A7s and the Can-Cans, as well as writers of romantic fiction, are like the real people you want, because they're really connecting on a deep level, to, a visual level or an emotional, I don't know, what do you call it? Like a level that's right in your brain, literature level. And, all those, go right up against your spirit. And then you can kind of have, the only place you could get free tickets to Romcom Con. You see, but where does it exist? Oh, it's an imaginary conference that doesn't exist, but you get a ticket to it. And you could go anytime. That's the best part about Romcomcon at Romcon. You could go anytime. And you could also watch that biology video anytime you want. You just go in the app, open it up. It says, watch, what is it called? Don't Fall in Love in Biology Class. Don't fall, DF, in love, DFIL, IBC. That's what it's known by, when people don't want to say all those words, instead of just saying and having it run together, like Romcomcon at Romcon. Yeah, that I said it correctly that time. And you see, you can watch the film right now, and it says within your mind, within your, it all is already there within your imagination. But a nice love story, but it could, the only way this love story could be improved is if there was, if there's some giant mega platform that said, hey, let's, say, well, yeah, we could have a dating level. I don't think, I realize I'm a realist, but I'll be satisfied with someone dressed like Uncle Fester dancing with a dancing frog in love, or being wed by red herring to a medley any time of the week. Good night, everybody. All right, I want to thank everybody that became a patron recently. I want to thank Bex, Drew, and Dustin. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Carolyn, Jacqueline, and Sophia. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Christina, Dot, and Claire. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Mary, Michael, and Antoine. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Natasha, Itz, and Courtney. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Timothy, Joe, and Emily. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Arindam, Katie, and Jonathan. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Nikki, Nell, and Michelle. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Sarah, Mariana, and Franz. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Carson and Sam. Thank you, thanks, and good night. And Mag and Julie. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Thanks to everybody who supports the show directly on Patreon or Apple Podcasts. Podcasts wouldn't exist without you or people that support the sponsors. But there are huge free ways to help the show. Join our Midnight Mission newsletter. Support people experiencing homelessness. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/Midnight Mission. Or you could just spread the word about the show. Just let other people know about the podcast. That's a huge help as well. And, that's it. I'm so glad to be here. We've got over 500 free episodes in the archives if you need more. And, these are either Scoots or Tuck You In sponsor here. Thanks and good night.